The average premium for an indexed annuity was just over $50,000. Guess how much it is now?
50,000. 150, 110.
$164,000.
Whoa. Hey there, welcome to CBS Spotlight. If you are here by mistake, you are in the right place now. This is the podcast that talks about the often forgotten insurance toolbox and how it's there to support you, the advisor, and the RIA in building and protecting your clients and their legacies. I am Michael Corman, and I am with Eric Alvarado.
How you doing?
Awesome. And we are your friendly guide through this world of insurance and wealth management. Eric and I are senior marketing directors at CBS Brokerage, a boutique independent insurance broker general agency. And our job is to teach, live, and breathe risk management for our offices and clients. We have both sat on your side of the table, being responsible for clients, knowing that you're the first call after the family calls when a life event happens. So this podcast, we're going to have some great conversations about how insurance can be a powerful tool in your toolkit for enhancing your ability to provide comprehensive financial solutions to your clients. So twice a month, we're going to kick open that toolbox and pick a tool, aka a concept, and discuss it in detail. So we tend to be afraid of the unknown. So let's kick open that toolbox and play with some tools, because the more knowledge we have equals less fear of the unknown. So if you like our content and you find it helpful, please like and subscribe. It goes a long way for us. But now that all the housekeeping is out of the way, we have a great guest for you today. They call her the rock star, and that is an earned title. She has been published over 500 times in trade journals, newspapers, and magazines. She is the founder, creator, and CEO of Wink Incorporated and Moore Market Intelligence. We have the one and only Sheryl Moore herself with us today. Thank you so much for coming on, Sheryl. I really, really appreciate it. All right. Thank you for bearing with me. Sheryl, I really appreciate you joining us today. Did I miss anything?
Just that I don't endorse any company or product, Michael.
Perfect. I should remember that one. That's a very good one to know. But now that we've got let's go ahead and get to the good stuff, though. So I know that you are here to educate us on annuities and Winkler Inc. So Eric, what is our first real question for Sheryl?
Well, Sheryl, I think one thing that came to my mind was that, what inspired you to start Wink Intel?
Well, I used to work for an insurance company home office, and I had a really unique experience that motivated me to start this business. I was a poor, struggling single mom of three. And I remember when I started at this insurance company, they enrolled me in this thing I'd never heard of called a 401k. And you have to keep in mind, working for this insurance company, I was supposed to learn about life insurance, and that has a lot to do about politics, and I'll explain in a moment. But I was very curious about this 401k thing. I had a lot of questions, and it seemed like nobody could really answer the questions that I had. They just gave me this huge book called a prospectus and told me to read it. Needless to say, that didn't happen in between all the baths and diaper changes. But I learned that they had a 401k match of 5%. And everybody was like, come on, you got to do it. It's free money. It's free money. So I enrolled. I chose some funds, being very ignorant of the process. And I learned when the dot-com bubble burst at the turn of the century that you can lose money in a 401k. I had no idea. And so when I complained to my boss and said, hey, I need help. I don't know what to do with my money. I feel uncomfortable losing money. He said, well, why didn't you buy an indexed annuity? And I said, what's an annuity? And he explained that it was a retirement savings product where you would receive a paycheck for life no matter how long you lived. And I said, that sounds great. What's an indexed annuity? And he said, well, it's just an annuity that earns limited interest based on the market's performance, and it protects you by crediting no less than 0%. And I said, that sounds fabulous. Where can I buy an indexed annuity? That sounds like what I wish I would have bought instead of that dumb 401k thing. And he just deadpan looked at me and said, Sheryl, the company we work for is the number one seller of indexed annuities in the country.
Oh my,
Yeah.
oh my.
Wow.
So I hit up the library. I hit up this new thing called the internet, looking for any information I could find about annuities.
Mm-hmm.
And what I found ended up being very biased, a lot of inaccuracies. And I just thought to myself, what if this happened to my grandparents? Everybody should have access to credible information about these products. And so that was what motivated me to start Wink Intel. It allows me to do my advocacy for the life insurance and annuity industry so that I can make sure more people are aware of these products.
Yeah, that's interesting that even though, the carrier that you worked with, as you mentioned, was one of the top sellers, that you didn't even know that product even existed. So, if you don't have the intelligence there, or the people advising you or letting you know what that is, how are the people out in the industry that aren't in the industry basically going to learn all that, right?
Right. I mean, like I said, it was about politics. They were trying to ramp up their life insurance sales so they could sell the company. But if I'm working for an insurance company and I can't find out about it, how can consumers find out about it? So that was a really huge motivator for me.
Sheryl, that was really tremendous insight. Thanks for sharing that with us. I really appreciate that. Now, what's one of the biggest misconceptions about annuities that you encounter, and how do you address that specifically with your data?
Well, I do fact checking for 54 different news media outlets who report on life insurance and annuities.
Wow.
And the data that we collect is really useful in helping to reposition annuities in particular, just because there's been such a negative narrative about them. And the number one misconception I hear about annuities is that they pay high commissions. The data that we have shows that the average commission is somewhere from 5 to 6%, depending on the product. But what we often see in the media is annuities have commissions of up to 9%. And so we actually connect with those journalists to make sure that they have the facts. And I'd like to think that that has helped change the narrative around annuities over the past 20 years that we've been doing this.
Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned that. I mean, and specifically, I guess, how do you address that when you come across like RIAs and things that, maybe look at them even more negatively than maybe a traditional like insurance agent or anything? Using the data and things, how do you go back to them and say, hey, this is a misconception?
Well, that's really interesting because there is this huge chasm in the financial industry between those who get paid fees and those who get paid commissions. I'm really channel agnostic, but what I like to say is that I conducted a study specifically on fee-based products versus commissionable products. And what I often hear from the fee-based folks is, well, the rates are so much better on the fee-based products that it really makes sense for the client to purchase them. And what my research found is that the rate differential actually isn't enough to make up for the difference in the fee that's charged every year. So after about year 4, the commission-based product actually ends up being a better deal for the client. And it's hard to fight with the facts,
Wow. Yeah, that's good information. Absolutely.
That is intrinsically interesting, Sheryl. I did not realize that, and I would very much like to see that data. Yeah, absolutely, Eric. So question for you then is, can you share a surprising trend or insight you've discovered about annuities recently? I mean, other than that research you just blew our minds with?
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you. So about a decade ago, or maybe 14 years ago, if you want to be more specific, there was this development of this new type of deferred annuity, which I call a structured annuity. Some people call it a RILA. Okay. I actually, when it launched, was like, this product is dumb. It doesn't make sense. I mean, if people wanted additional opportunity for gains, they would buy a variable annuity. And if they want to protect themselves from downward movement in the markets, they would choose an indexed annuity. Why do we need this annuity that has features of both? And really, I had to open mouth and insert foot on that because over the years, consumers are increasingly buying these structured annuities, and it has become a legitimate line of business. So that's probably the one thing that has surprised me the most in my business was how quickly these products took hold, and they're increasing in sales exponentially. Matter of fact, during the most recent quarter, they rose in sales 44.25%.
Wow. What is
Yeah.
it? What is it that you think has made them so attractive for new consumers?
Well, they really became popular when interest rates were so low before fourth quarter of last year. And I think because indexed annuity caps were really undesirable. I mean, they were floating around 3-4%. But these products had caps of like 9 and 10% at the time. So they looked more attractive than the alternative. But they do have the potential risk of some losses. While it is limited, there is potential for loss. So in my mind, the client demographic is completely different, but advisors have been able to position them so that they look attractive to consumers given the alternatives.
Okay. So it's about the right tool for the right person at the right time.
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome.
Great perception there, Sheryl. That's really interesting about the RILAs. I guess if you had a crystal ball, what would you predict would be one of the most significant changes that's going to hit the annuity industry in, say, the next 5 years?
Well, haters are going to hate, but my crystal ball tells me that annuity sales are going to keep reaching record highs.
Oh.
And that is especially true if interest rates continue the way they are. I mean, these products have never looked more attractive than they do today.
Yeah, it's very true. I mean, we haven't seen interest rates like this, at least in my career. I don't remember seeing rates like this since, 2000, before probably 2008, I think, maybe. So,
well, I've been doing this for 25 years, and I can say with assurance, rates have never been this good in the annuity business.
Wow. So timing's everything. And right now is the time, it sounds like, right? So
absolutely.
If you could look further into your crystal ball, what do you think interest rates are going to do?
I'm trying to sell my house right now.
Yeah.
So part of me hopes that rates come down, but if I had to look at my crystal ball, I'd say rates are going to maintain for a while, but they will eventually come down at some point. Hopefully it's to a level where the rates on these products are still palatable and marketable, but we'll have to see what happens.
Awesome.
Definitely.
So what's the most surprising piece of data that you've come across in your work at Winkintel?
Well, what's not really surprising is that I've seen indexed annuity sales reaching record highs pretty consistently. But what I wasn't anticipating was how much the average case size has changed over time. When I started tracking sales of these products back in 2005, the average premium for an indexed annuity was just over $50,000. Guess how much it is now?
$50,000.
150. 110.
$164,000.
Whoa, they've more than tripled.
Yeah. And, nobody really pays attention to that, but that's the most surprising thing that I've seen over the tenure of my business.
Interesting. Do you any insight to the key factors on why that might be happening?
I really believe that it's because of the positive press that we've seen in the news about annuities, especially since the Secure Act got passed. We're seeing a lot of positive momentum about these products. And I think that more people are finding out about them, or people who have purchased them in the past have more confidence about them and are buying for a second or third time and deciding that this is something that I trust. I know my money is safe. And so they're depositing more money in it.
Oh, makes sense.
Yeah, it does make a lot of sense, especially when you throw in that Secure Act and how that can be a nice piece of, somebody's portfolio too. So it's great. Makes sense.
For the audience, though, should I ask the question is, how does the Secure Act fit into all of this?
Yeah, so I would say that the Secure Act allows for annuities to be inside of 401ks. And that is bringing the positive press in just because all of a sudden the media says, oh, we actually have some legislation that has to do with annuities, and this is a good thing for consumers. But really, most people don't realize that you can't just go out in your 401k today and say, give me the annuity option. There's going to be a lot of time and groundwork that needs to be laid before we start seeing those options in 401ks.
Makes sense. Thank you very much. Well, what's the one piece of advice you'd give to financial advisors who are hesitant about recommending annuities to their clients?
Well, my experience has shown that when it comes to financial advisors and their position on annuities, what they're really trying to do is compare the annuity to investments. And they frequently say, well, I can build you a better annuity that will return more with some bonds and a stock fund. And really, that's not appropriate because annuities aren't about greater alpha. They're about risk transference. And so you need to think about this as an insurance product that'll guarantee an income that can't be outlived. And certainly for those expenses that one has to have covered in their retirement, often annuity makes sense.
So the big factor is this is a product that is an investment. It's not just an investment style.
Absolutely. And I think that the problem is just that they're thinking, I can earn you more with an alternative investment, when really we're not trying to position annuities against securities. That's not how they're priced. They're not intended to perform that way. Right. But no other product can provide a guaranteed paycheck for the rest of your life, no matter how long you live.
So this is a pension that you're able to purchase still to some degree or another.
I would say a pension's an annuity.
Ooh, I like that. I like that.
Well, I know a lot of people say an annuity is a personal pension, but when you think about it, a pension does what an annuity does. It's a type of annuity, just like Social Security is, or like winning the Publishers Clearinghouse.
Both things I wouldn't mind happening to me.
Seriously. So I got kind of a different one for you. If you could have dinner with any historical figure to discuss what makes annuities kind of exciting or fascinating for you, who would it be and why?
So not really a historical figure, but I would want to have dinner with Senator Elizabeth Warren.
Oh.
Just because she perceives our business to be, full of used car salespeople who are selling wares that people don't need. And I'd really love the opportunity to just set the facts right and help her understand what this business is really about.
Testify.
Yeah. No arguments on that set. The misconceptions are huge.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Well, I am Michael Corman, and I'm also with
Eric Alvarado.
And this has been CBS Spotlight, your friendly conversation about insurance and wealth advising coming together. Thank you guys very much for tuning in. Please come in, see us next time. Like and subscribe if you find it beneficial. Thanks. Take it easy.
Take care.